Welcome back to another episode of Movie Mayhem. As always, I'm Spanky.
G.
Usual shout outs to Chucky's Playground, great place to be.
Yeah.
Tons of cool people there. There's the Metal Matt podcast. Chucky115 awesome, making his sweet videos. Simon Gray kind of taking a break from his Tiffany Valentine stuff, but we're looking forward to seeing how that pans out.
Yeah.
So if you haven't guessed what movie we're gonna do this week, then either you're
Even
not
that terrible joke you left off with.
not my fucking fault. Yeah, either you're not keen to Eric Clapton jokes, or you're not a Johnny Depp fan. Like G
We're doing
is.
my heartthrob this week.
Yeah.
Crossing my leg.
And this is a movie I like as well. It's a really good movie, adapted from a book, based on true events. And this is from 2011, or not 2011, 2001. It stars a lot of people. Johnny Depp, Penelope Cruz, Paul Rubens, who is Pee Wee Herman. And Ethan Suplee's in it, Ray Liotta.
Okay, am I wrong? Is a very young Scarlett Johansson in that movie? No.
I don't think so.
That's his daughter. Or
Emma Roberts.
that. I knew it was a bitch I didn't like.
And yeah, favorite actress. So who else? I don't see anyone else you would know. But so the movie we're talking about is from 2001. It's called Blow. And it's based on the real life story of American cocaine smuggler George Jung. And probably won't get into too much detail because it's pretty much like a biopic. It's a biographical film. There's obviously some liberties taken with it, but it pretty much is the life story of George, played by Johnny Depp. Starts out with him as a kid. Ray Liotta plays his father. And
How his mom's always, like, his mother was just a bitch.
yeah, his mother was always like a cunt that was like first priority is how much money her man makes.
Yeah.
And she kind of would leave on and off.
Yeah, and his father would always take her back, and
Yeah, and his father always tried to do his best. And like there's some of that, and like that kind of had a lingering effect on George growing up because he didn't want to be that poor.
no. And he got involved in his early 20s in, I believe, like pot first, it wasn't,
Yeah, him and his friend Tuna, played by Ethan Suplee, they move to California, and that's where they meet Derek, who's played by Paul Rubens, who is a pot dealer, and they kind of
and
they become like partners, and they start dealing pot.
life is pretty good. I mean, like, he had his girlfriend,
Uh-huh.
and, I mean, unfortunately, his girlfriend dies.
Yeah, and they end up like they end up like starting to get big because George ends up trying to buy drugs directly from Mexico. He gets caught trying to smuggle 660 pounds of pot. He gets 2 years in prison. And like, and this is where like his mom gets very despicable because he goes
Yeah, because she
yeah.
called him up.
Well, he goes back home to visit his parents, and he's talking with his dad. And they live in New England, and which is like the Boston area. And his mom calls the cops on him. And from there, that's where he starts learning more about the drug trade. he is cellmates with a guy who's involved with the Medellin cocaine cartel. And so, pretty much, that's where it kind of takes off. He becomes a big cocaine smuggler. He kind of has his own business doing it. He hires his own pilots. He gets a rich mansion. He meets Penelope Cruz, who ends up being his wife. And
they make it big in cocaine. Like, he becomes rich.
yeah, and he even has like a heart attack related to doing coke, and he tries to get out of it.
Yeah.
And like then his wife kind of organizes a party with a bunch of the ex-drug friends. The FBI raids it and arrests him. And he pretty much loses all his shit. It gets seized, and then he's driving with his wife. Him and Penelope Cruz, his wife Martha, they have a daughter together.
Yeah, and isn't her name like... He calls her something that's not really her name. It's Christina, isn't it?
Sunshine. Christina Sunshine Jung.
Yeah, because I think we just call her Sunshine.
Yeah, and so pretty much, like, and even his wife is a cunt, 'cause she becomes very addicted.
Yeah.
And they're driving and they get in an argument. She tries to, like, fuck him while they're driving. And he's like, stop it. And then she starts, and she causes him to be pulled over. And when they gets pulled over, she tells the cops that he's a fugitive and he has drugs. So he goes to prison. And while he's in prison, his Mirtha or whatever divorces him and takes custody of the daughter.
Yeah.
And so he gets out of prison and he pretty much has nothing. So he tries to, like, rebuild his relationship with his daughter, and that's not really working.
It's hard because she's, like, brainwashed by her mom.
Yeah, and the mom is just a cunt. She's like, where's that? Like, she was so used to being rich and everything, and now all that's gone, and she still is, like, expecting him to give her money and shit. She's like, you don't get to see her unless you give me money. Like, Penelope Cruz does a really good job at being a fucking irritable twat.
Yeah.
And, like, so he, he's trying to swear that he's going to be done with all of this. And he wants to take his daughter on a vacation to California, but he needs money for it. And, like, he sets up a deal with a bunch of old, acquaintances that he worked with.
Yeah.
And, he does it successfully, but then it turns out to be a raid by the DEA and the FBI. With his friends leaking information with a plea deal, and George is sentenced to 60 years. And the one thing that bothered him was, like, breaking the promise to his daughter.
Yeah.
And then, like...
And she never came to visit him.
Yeah, she never did. And then while he was in prison, his father was dying and he tried to get furlough. But the fucking mother denied it.
Yeah.
And, like, now he's finally understanding, because in the beginning of the movie there was a big scene where Ray Liotta, who plays Fred the father, he goes to the bank and declares bankruptcy and they lose everything. And he's walking with a young George in the bank, and he tries to explain to him how money isn't real, or, like, it's not the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
And so now in prison with all this, he finally kind of understands it. And so he serves his time, and he's old. He's an older man in prison, and he has like a hallucination that his daughter visits him.
Yeah, she's grown up and she's
And then it kind of ends with some text that says like his sentence doesn't expire until this year, 2015, and his daughter
he got released last year from prison.
Yeah, so and his daughter never visited him. And then it shows the actual photograph of the actual guy.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of how it ends. It's
a sad ending. In my opinion.
And yeah, he was released. The actual, when it goes to how it relates to history, there's obviously some liberties taken. But like the actual George Jung, he was released June 2nd, 2014. And I don't even know what he's I guess the actual George Jung, he co-wrote a novel that's going to be billed as a sequel to Blow. Oh, interesting. So
I think Johnny Depp did a really good job.
Yeah, it's an odd Johnny Depp movie because he plays a normal person.
Oh, shut up! He plays normal people.
Yeah, but half of those movies don't fare well. Like, there's ones where he plays normal people, like in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and he's good.
Yeah, that movie was really good. I was gonna say, don't even say that movie was bad.
And then there's ones where he plays, like, in Transcendence, but that's a little funky because he becomes a fucking computer. And that movie was just fucking awful. And it's just, like, most of Johnny Depp's movies, he plays something that's not natural or normal. He's either a fucking pirate, Edward Scissorhands, Sweeney Todd. He's always got weird roles. So.
Because he can pull them off. Johnny Depp doesn't care.
Well, it kind of makes you confused because you don't know what the fuck he really looks like.
Yes, I do. I have him hanging on my wall.
Yeah, I prefer the movies where Johnny Depp plays an actual person. Like.
Oh, shut up! He's good.
Oh, whatever. Like, but like other shit like where he plays an actual person, I like. I haven't seen Public Enemies. I've seen clips, but I think that's probably pretty good.
Public Enemies is actually like it's a decent movie. It's not like fantastic.
Well, it's in the stuff that I'm interested in, and then said What's Eating Gilbert Grape is great. I like Secret Window.
That movie's really good. It makes me, I don't know, something about his like little twang or something. When he spells out the word divorce, he's like Divorce. It turns me on every time.
I don't know what other movies. His very first movie was Nightmare on Elm Street.
I have it.
And he had a cameo in one of the later ones, but he was good in that. Let me see what other. Yeah, because I like his ones where he's just a normal person, like. His cameo in 21 Jump Street was pretty good. I haven't seen The Rum Diary. I haven't seen The Tourist either.
The Tourist is good.
Oh, he was great for his limited role in the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
Yeah, that was a very strange movie. I have that movie too, but it's good.
Well, because that was the movie Heath Ledger was doing.
Yeah, and all those actors were basically finishing
when he died like a bitch, and then they brought in Jude Law, Johnny Depp, and Colin Farrell to fill all his roles, and they did it wonderfully. So.
Yeah, I have that movie too. That was again a really strange movie, but it's good.
But like, as far as like. being as normal of a character as possible, this is like one of those movies for Johnny Depp where he probably plays almost as normal of a person as he can be. So.
Okay. No, but I think that the role just suited him really well. He did a really good job in this movie.
Yeah, he did.
It was just well done all over.
Yeah.
I liked biopics, so it was just like natural.
Yeah, so Blow, and I like the opening. I actually used it in a speech in high school when I gave about drugs because it shows you how to make cocaine in the first 5 minutes. Like,
yeah.
And yeah, it was an interesting movie because like I remember the first time I saw it, it's like is that fucking Pee Wee Herman, and it's like oh my god. He's not doing it. Well, if you love her so much, why don't you marry her?
Stop.
I know what you are, but what am I?
Go jerk off in a movie theater.
Hey, that man's a goddamn hero. It wasn't like the fucking Lion King or something. It was an adult movie theater. That's what you're supposed to do. But anyway, Blow, it's a really enjoyable movie. Especially if you're into, like, crime dramas, because, you know, it's got all that. And as I said, it's based on a true story, which also adds that level of interest for me. And if you're just into Johnny Depp, if he makes you wet, go for it.
Woo, I went for it.
If you want to sit back and watch a Johnny Depp movie and squish your burger, this is a great one to do it for.
Call it that, okay? Out of all the things that you can call female masturbation, do not use squish your burger, okay?
You want to call your girlfriends
up? There's a million better options.
You can call your girlfriends up and bump donuts with them.
Ew, you're such a man.
Or if you just want to, go to Burger King and pick up some chicken fries because they brought them back.
I don't like Burger King.
Oh, whatever, you picky ass.
Oh, me.
I'm particular. You're picky.
Oh, bullshit.
Actually, it's the opposite. Yeah, I'm sorry. But anyway, Blow, as I said, great movie. If you love cocaine, there you go. Right up your alley. So, yeah, I recommend it. I don't know if we know what we're going to do for next week.
No, we don't. I suggested something, but we'll have to talk about it.
Were we ever going to go back to more Ryan Gosling?
There will probably be more Ryan Gosling in the
thank God. I want something to slap my chode to. Just fucking gargle his balls. Such a hot man.
Jesus. Well, you have your cardboard cutout.
I'd suck a fart out of him and hold it like a bong hit.
Oh, Jesus. Gross.
Whatever. You know it's true. So... yeah, so I guess we'll just keep these as surprises going forward. So maybe you'll know a movie, maybe you won't. Ooh. And these won't be really recorded in advance. They're going to be recorded like 2 or 3 days before we release them.
It's just easier to do that.
For shizzle my muzzle. So yeah, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, stay classy.
See ya.